Welcome to Gibbo Garage. Today we're using a multimeter to test your battery, your alternator, the wires between them. That comprises your whole charging system so that you don't change the parts that you don't need to. So let's start off with the tools you're using. We've got a multimeter, we've got some test leads, and we've got some crocodile clips on the end of it. Now, we're going to be measuring voltage today, and when you're using a voltmeter like this, you're effectively measuring the difference in voltage potential between the 2 points that you're measuring. So, the positive and the negative. How that looks on the battery, I'll take you over here. Let me just flip open the fuse cupboard. Positive terminal feeds off the rest of the fuse boxes on the positive side, and over here is your earth. They are the parts required to make up an electrical circuit, and that's where we're going to be testing. So, to start off, we're going to go positive onto the positive side. Make sure you get a good contact on there. And negative on the negative side. Make sure you've got a good contact there. Now, this initial reading that we get here helps us assess the battery condition. We're looking for over 12.6 volts, and that indicates that the battery has a good level of charge in it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think 12.6 indicates about 75% charge rate, or charge stored in the battery, available for when you start the car, for when you turn your accessories on, whatever you're going to need them for. So, with a reading of 12.7, we're pretty good. That battery is in a healthy state of charge, and it's ready for us to move on to our next test. So, for the next part of the testing, I've just gone in and put the keys in the ignition to get ready to start her up. What we're going to see next is, first of all, as we start the car and initially turn the key, we're going to have a voltage drop as the energy is being used to turn the engine over to get it up to speed that it can start at. And as the engine starts running and manages to hold an idle by itself without the starter, we're going to see the voltage jump up to hopefully between 14 and 14.5 volts. So yeah, let's see what happens. So, here we've got our charging rate, we can see. The engine's running at an idle, and the alternator is now charging the battery. As you can see, 14.3 volts. That falls between 14 and the 14.5 that we want to be seeing. 14.5 volts, that is. And that indicates that the alternator is charging at the right level, and that the battery is taking a charge at the right level. And that is a pretty good reading at rest. It's in the middle. This is quite an old battery on this car, so I'm fairly happy with that. And I don't think the alternator has ever been changed on this car. It's done over 200,000 miles, so that's a fairly good reading. What we're going to do now is jump inside the car and increase the revs to see what the alternator does while the car's driving down the road. So we're going to simulate driving down the road with an elevated RPM between 2, maybe 3,000 revs, wherever you'd normally drive it down the road. So that one's going to be next. So here we are inside the car now. I've changed the meter's position so we can see it, and I'm still reading 14.3 volts. What I'm going to do now is take the revs up, and I think my rev limit is about 2 grand. There we go. So that's going to limit our testing opportunities, but a slight increase to 14.3, and I'm fairly happy with that. So we're going to leave it back to an idle so you can hear me talk a little bit better. I should probably close the door. Still not going to help annoying the neighbours. Either way, never mind. So what we're going to do next is turn on some electrical loads. That's all the lights and my fog's on. Lovely. Might as well whack the hazards on. Let's chuck that heated screen on for a minute. And I won't turn the blower's motor on because the last time I filmed this video I did, and you can't hear a thing I say. So, readings. We are down to, I'm going to say, between 14.1 and 14.2 volts, which is fairly loaded up for the alternator and for the battery, with everything you would have on a dark night, and it's staying above 14 volts. That means the battery is charging up, and even when you're using all of your electrical consumers, we're still adding charge to the battery, so that's a good thing. The final test we're going to do is raise the RPM up to my rev limiter again, and see how the battery does in driving conditions under load. So here we go. That's 2 grand, and that's 14.2, so staying above 14.2. I'm very happy with that. So let's go to the front and just have a nice little finish off for this episode. So, turn the car off, got a bit quiet now. Turn the meter back on again, and as you can see, we were at 14.2 under full load. Now we are slowly dropping down. We're going to end up back at the approximately the 12.7, 12.6. I can't remember quite what we were at the beginning of the video. But we're going to slowly drop down to that as the battery dissipates some of its energy with some of the systems in the car that are turning off slowly, like the fact that I haven't actually locked the car, things like that. In fact, that'll be a nice little one. See what the voltage has affected as I lock the car. So I think that's a nice little note to end on. There's your battery readings. I hope you found this video useful, and if you had, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. We'd love to get all the feedback from you, and we hope to see you in the next video soon. From Gibbo Garage, peace out. Right, bonus footage. What happens to your battery when you lock the car? So, let's get you viewed in on the screen, and there you go. Just down to 12.98, and as we unlock it again, just a little cheeky voltage drop, and then back up to 13. So, once again, I'm pretty happy with that battery condition. It's seeming to sit around 13 volts. Now it's had a tiny little charge. That's not really an adequate charge running the car for the 2 or 3 minutes I've been filming this video for. But it goes to show we've got a good alternator in there, and we've got a good battery in there. So, no issues there to report, and we can keep an eye on this for the future. So, we'll leave you there, guys. Until the next video, take care from me.